Good evening, all. Back for another episode. Another double bill. This is a Gibbo pick. Now that he's back on deck.
Kicking
the Amityville Horror. The original from 79 and the 2005 Ryan Reynolds led remake. Now, before we get into any of that, quick bit of news dropped the other day, Jared. I believe they're going to do a Joker mythology film that's not connected to the other DC films.
Yep.
Martin Scorsese's involved. Is that producing, and Todd Phillips, who made the Hangover films.
That's different.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Are we up or down on this one?
I'm kind of in the middle, and the reason is I think it's a pretty good idea to make the films out of continuity. Basically, the DC animated stuff, they just run with, this is a standalone story.
Yeah.
Some of them are great. Some of them work for one film.
And they
I'm
can just
happy to see
use
that.
interesting stories if
Yeah,
they want.
and you don't have to, you're not beholden to the designs that they've done for Suicide Squad or anything like that. The downer for me is I'm not a big fan of Todd Phillips. I don't mind some of his stuff, but there's been others that I'm just not.
Seems
all
a
that
weird
interested in.
pick for a Joker
Weird
movie.
pick, yeah, very, very weird pick. But I think they've already sort of stated that there would be no Jared Leto, although he's committed to 2 other films in the continuity.
I'm confused.
Well, it could get a little bit confusing.
I'm
but
confused.
In a way,
I'm
I
getting
kind
to
of
shoot
like...
it and they just cut him out of it again like they did last time.
Because what happened was, I mean, this is why it could be a good idea. You base a universe around Man of Steel and Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
You're planning fucking 10 movies, then all of a sudden that first one's not very good.
Yeah.
And so you're like, shit.
What
We're
do
just
we do
going
here?
to pick up the pieces. Instead of picking up the pieces, you do a different continuity and say this is just a Batman story.
Yeah.
It's one or 2 films. I mean, as you pointed out, it worked for Nolan. He had his 3 movies and then he went and did something else. So I don't see a reason why you can't have 2 concurrent sort of
Yeah.
Batman stories going on or something like that.
Oh, look, I don't see a problem. I don't see an issue with that. It could get confusing.
It could get confusing.
In the sense of Jared Leto is not going to be in this one, but that he's got himself 2 other gigs in the DC universe as the Joker.
Yeah.
Possible standalones. I don't know what they're going to do there.
I think they're going to be in the they're going to be in the DC.
And then we got Ben Affleck as Batman in Justice League, which is coming up. But we've got a Batman continuity over here with a different bloke.
Well, apparently that's been... I think Matt Reeves clarified that is going to be DCEU.
Okay.
Some report came out the other day that said that was going to be standalone stuff.
Yeah.
So if that, when you're going at that route and you've got 3 or 4 standalones and then the DCEU,
You got problems.
That could be confusing. But if they just drop, here's our continuity, and every 2 years here's a standalone story. You know, that could work. But yeah, I'm not a Todd Phillips fan.
That's the problem.
What about you, mate?
Yeah, the Todd Phillips bits.
You also sort of medium or
yeah,
down?
well, I'm not as big of a DC, like the comic side. Like Jared's definitely the expert on that area. I'll defer to him on all that shit, but I just don't understand why you get someone like Todd. It's like Lord Miller doing the Star Wars movie and everyone's like, hang on, do you guys do comedy? Like, really? We know this.
How long have you been shooting for? 3 months. Is this a comedy? I assume.
It's just one of those things like horses for courses.
Can I have Ron Howard's phone number?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, you've got Martin Scorsese there, so you're obviously going to go for one sort of tone, and then you get Todd Phillips in to do...
Look, I said this to Jared early on. Put it in Scorsese's hands.
Yeah.
I want to see what he would do.
That would be awesome.
Like, we're talking about a legendary filmmaker. Like
And that can fit. There's been Joker stories where he's like the crime boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that's right up
That's what I was thinking when I heard
Scorsese's
Scorsese.
And I said this to you at the time. Christopher Nolan, we've sort of seen what a great filmmaker can do with a superhero property because Christopher Nolan's he's an exceptional filmmaker.
Yeah.
But they made him those films. Scorsese's established. He's a legend.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Spielberg did one, or Quentin Tarantino did one. Like, these guys come at it from different angles, and that's why I think it'd be like I would have thrown an absolute fucking shitload at the bloke.
Yeah.
Said, we really want you to do this. You can take it wherever you like.
Yeah.
It stands alone.
And if it's a standalone, you can say you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You do your story. You do
because. Not to sort of, with very limited detail, it's hard to say, but it just feels like, Scorsese's producing, but he's not really doing anything. Like,
no.
he's just, his name's on it.
Yeah, you're just bankrolling it.
Yeah, like,
When I
Someone
first
said,
heard about it,
anyone interested in this? The Scorsese said, oh, sounds great.
Yeah.
Chuck me on as an executive producer. Like, you know, it just, I want to see what he would do with it.
yeah.
I think
When I
it'd be-
first heard about it,
I reckon it'd be
heard his
really
name.
gritty and dark, and it would be really interesting.
I thought he must have been going to direct because I heard he was attached to it. I'm like, fuck, that would be so interesting to see what he would do with it. But
So for me, it's a bit...
yeah, thumb turning down.
Yeah, I think if it's the movie itself, I'm kind of leaning towards down. But the idea of, okay, we might get some other stories that aren't going to be, you know, stuck with the mythology that's come out of the first few.
I'm okay with that in the sense of DC because they've screwed the pooch so badly to start with. We need to go back to the drawing board a little bit, and to go standalone makes some sense in this case. Let's take a break and dive into the original Amityville Horror.
Oh, Mother of God, I'm coming apart!
19 days after the Lutz family moved into their dream house, they were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget. And you will believe in the Amityville Horror. Rated R.
The Amityville Horror from 1979, directed by Stuart Rosenberg, who directed Cool Hand Luke. Produced by Elliot Geslinger, who did Child's Play. And
Say Elliot Goldberg.
he's going internally berserk over it, I believe. Written by Sander Stern. He also did Amityville: The Evil Escapes, and based on a novel by Jay Anson. It stars James Brolin as George Lutz, Margot Kidder as Kathy Lutz, and Rod Steiger as Father Delaney. Made for a fairly small $4.7 million. Made $86 million in the US. Even though Brolin became friendly with George Lutz, the real George Lutz, he was highly doubtful of the story. Him and everyone else.
Everybody else,
I think. All right, Gibbo. Thoughts, mate?
Again, yeah, just to reiterate, this is my fault. I only watched this when I was relatively young. I'd say probably 10 to 12 range, maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking it was pretty good, and I was very wrong. This movie it's not even a little bit scary at any point. It's about 2 hours too long, because I think it goes for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's 2 hours too long. It should never be made. It's so boring. Nothing happens at any point. There's no storyline. The acting's dog shit. There's really, really poor. Just like, I don't know. They linger on some scenes that are clearly supposed to be something, and they're just not.
Yeah.
The editing's really strange. There's not much good to say about it. It's like it's probably a 1.
1 star?
Yeah.
Jared?
1 for effort.
Yeah, I echo that pretty much 100%. I can't remember when I saw it, but I thought, oh gee, that's a little bit chilling, a little bit scary, and I was just shocked at how bad it is, because it's still got a pretty good reputation, and I think
Well,
people
it's
that are
pronounced one of
defending
the classics, and
Yeah.
it is not.
No.
It should not be in there.
I think the people that are sort of still bringing it up are people like you and me, getting the conversation and go, oh, what about Amityville? That one's alright. And anyone that's watched it recently goes, oh, fuck it.
What is he guys talking about?
But you're spot on. The biggest issue for me is there's not a story there.
No, nothing happens.
There's not a story. The only thing resembling a story is the priests attempting to help the family, but the family just continues to go from, oh shit, something happened. I'm going to walk to the next room.
Yeah.
Oh, something there. Blood coming out of the walls. What?
And it just doesn't develop. There's a couple of opportunities for it too, with the girl that's kind of seems to be clairvoyant or something.
Yeah.
Things start to happen and then don't, and it's just a shambles basically. It's I reckon I'd probably go for a 1 as well. I was not happy at all.
I'll join you in the 1
Correct.
stakes.
Yeah, that's how we know we're all
It's just
right.
a really silly film that, even if this story was actually true, which I believe, I haven't done great research, but I believe it is not.
It's been debunked.
Never
hasn't it?
was.
Yeah.
I think a lawyer.
Yeah.
Lawyer for the DeFeos.
Feos, yeah. They cooked it up,
They
yeah.
cooked it up, and he gave him some details and things like that.
But even if that story was real, this movie is so poorly constructed, you wouldn't even feel like you would think it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Because there's no tension, there's no scares, there's nothing. Like it just kind of bumbles along, introducing these stupid things that they supposedly like. Oh, this is supposed to be scary, and I just scratching my head, going,
No.
we'll just move on to the next scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it's 1 out of 5.
As you said, even if it was a real story, you got to take some liberties to make it interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And there was none. Like there was nothing that was remotely interesting.
No, well, a lot of times with these old movies, you can see that stuff, because we're desensitised to a lot of the scare stuff now, like because of stuff that's done a lot better with better special effects and things. And you can see in the old ones, maybe that would have been scary back then. I can't see anything that would have been scary to like an adult audience back then. Obviously, little kids, some probably gets to you like it did with me when I watched it the first time, but there is nothing here I can think someone in 1979 watching it as an adult would have been like, ooh, that's a bit,
And what I said,
hard to watch.
Even the scene with like the flies and the priest and Get Out and all that sort of stuff, I remember thinking that wasn't too bad, but then I watched it and I thought, if you take the sound out of this, trying to ramp up the tension, there's just nothing.
Nothing's happening.
It's just it's summer in Australia.
This bloke's going to Darwin.
yeah, he's in Darwin, 40 degree heat.
But even the voice in that bit is like, the get out. Like, it just sounds comical. It's not, like, scary in any way.
But the bottom line, too, is I always felt it was sort of like on the heels of The Exorcist. It was sort of like on the coattails of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But The Exorcist is unsettling.
Yeah.
It's not jump scare central. It doesn't rely on that. It relies on this is very unsettling stuff.
It tried to be the same sort of scares.
Yeah.
And they just weren't really there.
No.
Yeah, it failed. Look, the lights are thin on the ground for me.
It's pretty thin.
There's actually, those actors we talked about, they're all decent actors.
Yeah.
I mean, Rod Steiger was a bloody Oscar winner.
Jesus.
And
I also like...
A lean year.
yeah, he was having a paycheck, obviously.
Yeah.
I also like going back in time and seeing James Brolin look like one of the Bee Gees.
Oh, that's right.
You look like Mark Gastineau with a beard.
I was suggesting a Gary Cox lookalike, actually, but that's one of the two likes I had was Brolin's blowout beard and hair combo.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Sensational.
They're all decent actors. None of them delivers anything.
No.
But I guess in the sense of they hit their mark and say their lines.
Yeah.
It's not an amateur production, if you want to put it that way.
No.
I actually thought the music,
The score I had was out of line.
the kids singing,
Yeah.
it's always creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? I think it's the same music in Pet Sematary.
It's very
Very,
similar.
very similar.
Yep.
The immediate thing for me is the look of the house. The way that it kind of looks like a face, and they use some sort of red lighting and things like that. It does have an ominous look to it, and it kind of, it's one of the few things in a movie that gives you the sense that the house is alive.
Yeah.
So the actual sort of design of it worked pretty well for me, because I think it wasn't too far from what the place actually looked like.
Yeah, I've seen photos of it because it's still there.
Yeah, yep. I believe none of the residents since the
Have been haunted by anything. Yeah.
but
Very strange, that.
it does give you quite an unsettling sort of vibe.
I actually think that the scene with the babysitter's locked in the closet is actually reasonably scary.
Yeah.
Partially for her actual reaction.
Yeah.
She's screaming and
She gave one of the best performances in the movie.
She
With
legitimately that shit was scary too.
Yeah.
That silly looking braces set.
Yeah.
It looks like bloody it reminds me of that Simpsons episode.
But yeah, that was the best. Yeah.
How much you feel
South Park, I thought of. Are you staring at my head here? But that was the best scene in the movie, like in terms of being like a horror movie.
Yeah. Because she sells it that she is actually shitting herself.
Yeah.
Which none of the other actors are capable or seem to be interested in doing.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I had was there's a short dream sequence where Brolin kills his child with an axe and then buries it in her head.
Yeah.
That, because it's quick and sharp and comes on out of nowhere, actually took me back a little bit. I sort of went, oh shit, didn't realise that was there. I'd forgotten that was even in it.
Yeah.
And that's really about it for me.
Correct.
I thought the opening sort of the DeFeos, the stuff about the DeFeos is sort of effective because it's really the only thing you can't dispute. that
Yeah.
actually sort of happened. So seeing it kind of presented.
I got a dislike for that, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It's actually it had immense possibilities to be really creepy.
Yeah,
Because
I believe it was true that
Yeah.
they were all found face down,
Yeah.
and he did it with a shotgun. So how did no one wake up and things
And
like
hear
that?
it, yeah.
So that stuff is really, for me, the only thing that sends a bit of a shiver down my spine.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of the filmmaking, but the fact that you kind of presented with that, and then you connect that to that shit actually did happen. So
yeah,
that was kind of good. It was one of the few things that sort of lent it some legitimacy.
yeah.
An early sighting of Principal Strickland, slacker.
Oh really?
He was one of the blokes cleaning up. I think he was the coroner.
Oh right.
So that was a good one. And the only other one for me was the Jodie stuff. It was hit and miss, but it was one of the few things that worked at times, because again, it's the only thing that gives a voice to what's going on with the house, or anything remotely happening with the house.
Yeah.
It's the only thing when the girl's saying, "Oh, Jodie's doing this," and even though when they look out the window, it's a couple of LEDs going.
Oh, that was so bad.
Or it's a pig, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a pig. But they actually had some they mentioned some creepy stuff that they should have done in the movie, like how the parents would hear her talking about Jodie. Jodie looks like a pig or whatever, and then the next morning would find trotter prints in the snow and stuff. They could have used something like that. But the thing for me, the only reason it worked a couple of times was because the kid was actually giving a kind of voice to
What was going
something
on?
that was happening, even though it didn't really pan out. And that was it for me.
Anything
Yeah,
else, mate?
fuck no.
Okay.
Dislikes.
The opening sequence of the DeFeo killings, it's chopped to shit. Like, and slightly spoiling the remake portion, but they do it correctly.
Yeah.
They showcase the whole thing that happened, right? This gives snippets of what happened, then gives us, because they have failed to explain it, they then give us a scroll to explain some shit, which they could have had as dialogue by the police who were there. Then,
Or Principal Strickland.
Strictly could have spurred it up there. But then we get to George and Kathy being taken through the house, and then we get shots of DeFeo killing the kids to show each room. No, failure. Massive failure, because I don't need to be shown which room each person was shot in. You know, like, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, here's the master bedroom, and then they'd show the two
Mum and
parents.
Dad,
Who cares? Take that to the front, because all I need to know is that house was the scene of 5 murders.
Yeah. That's kind of...
And a year later, we are there.
Yeah, and once you get that, as you said, once you get, it's the scene of the murders, you get a couple of the creepy details that makes it kind of think, this kid didn't do it on his own, but he was the only one there.
Yeah.
That plants a couple of seeds, and then you go from there.
Yeah, and they botched the inherent creepiness of that entire sequence. The rain's coming down, the lightning's flashing, and he's walking around the house with a shotgun. You know, it's creepy shit.
Yeah.
But they botched it.
Yeah, that's not even anything. So I had we sort of touched on this a minute ago, but the fact that the family didn't wake up when he's walking around shooting things, like, are we thinking they thought it was the lightning or like thunder?
Maybe,
but like a gunshot's a gunshot, man, and that'd wake you up. So the parents are just laying there because he shoots the brothers first, I think.
But I
then
think
the
that's
parents.
what's actually... That stuff that they presented is actually what they found.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah.
It's weird. I can't remember the full...
other
details, but
people were there, you reckon?
I believe that's what they said. What they presented there was what they found, that he used a gunshot, but everyone was found in their beds face down. So what you kind of said just illustrates why that was done badly.
Yeah.
Because they should have presented, that's what happened, and they're fucking confused by that.
Yeah.
You know what they could have had? They could have just had him in the basement getting out the shotgun and everything, just walking around the house, and then just cut to the front of the house and show him,
The flashes.
the flashes.
Yeah.
And then the cops are saying everyone was face down.
Yeah.
Nobody got up.
Yep.
So, insinuating there was more than just him.
Yeah.
There were others.
That, as I said, that plants a seed that the house has something to do with it when
Yeah.
they get in there. But yeah, it was a bit of a botched job.
The question that I asked, what is it with the flies?
I don't know.
Like, what's the flies? Do they ever
Well,
explain
that's
the
what
flies?
actually happened, Adam.
Yes,
It's
true.
fact. It's
True.
presenting
It's
fact.
My apologies. The fly stuff is... The priest just turns up, he waltzes in, he walks upstairs, hello, no one's around, looks out the window, everyone's outside, everyone.
Yeah.
He notices, he proceeds, you'd think he'd just roll back downstairs, hi, I'm
Hey
here,
guys,
you
I'm here
know.
to do your blessing.
No, starts to do some blessing,
Doesn't pan out.
does not pan out well, gets told to get out. It was probably just the Lutz family telling you to fuck off.
Yeah.
We're
Who
atheists.
the hell let you in here?
I had that 'cause we didn't find out till later on that Kathy had actually asked him to come and bless the house.
No.
At that point, you just think this bloke's just rocked up,
Yeah.
walked into their house and started doing his thing without any
And she's
invitation.
fucking chased it down for 80 minutes. It's about 80 minutes where she's still going, oh, he didn't come to the house. He asked me to come and bless the house, but he didn't come and bless the house.
What?
Yeah, I was just like, fucking somebody say he did. He was at the house. And now he's comatose. So let's proceed. Moving along.
You know what I love? It cuts to him getting covered in flies and getting told to get out. Cuts away to them tooling around on the lake on a mud.
Yeah.
They have not heard you, mate. They don't know you're there.
You know, the other thing that made me laugh too was when she calls up to talk to him and it's the other bloke and he's trying to whisper. He ends up sounding like Hank from Me, Myself and Irene.
He does have a very weird delivery, that bloke. Good hair too. He looks like the bad guy from No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Bob Sugar.
Yeah.
Anton Sugar.
Yeah, Anton Sugar,
Bob
that's it.
Sugar. That's where I got that from.
Bob Sugar, Jeremy Maguire.
Bob Sugar. Dickhead.
Oh, mate, I spoke to you earlier on, Gibbo. The sex scene between Nolan and Margot Kidder. Absolute laugh riot. He walks in, she's in one leg warmer.
Pair of undies and an open button shirt, yeah.
And then he takes her to the ground, and then all you hear is him going, yum, yum, and then he goes, oh, you make me feel like a little boy fumbling around the backseat of a car.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's hot, that stuff. Gets a girl's juices flowing, that sort of shit.
oh no, we know why she married you. You're a real wordsmith. Oh man. Also, there's a sequence where he's cutting wood. You know how that... I think in both films they use wood chopping, as kind of ramping up the fact that he's a bit loose.
Yeah.
There's a bit where you look out the window and he's cutting some wood. I'm not joking. He's got a piece of wood 2 foot wide.
And it's about 8 feet long. Yeah, I know. And he gets it in too.
He's not getting anywhere with it. At one point he goes... And the axle's stuck in the top. Mate, smaller pieces.
Yeah. Because they wouldn't have gone in the furnace anyway. You'd have to saw him in half again.
Yeah, you think you're losing your touch with the reality, and the demon's got a bit of a control over you, trying to look intimidating to your family. Get a smaller dog.
You're embarrassing yourself.
It's like, you just hear that voice go, get the chainsaw, stupid bastard.
Dickhead.
If you're not careful, I will kill you first.
I actually, the one that got that was a bit of a laugh, but the one that got the biggest laugh out of me was the toilet filling with sludge.
Yeah.
It's fucking comical. But if a sludge-filled toilet means your house is haunted, I must live on a fucking hellmouth or something.
The first thing, I'm not thinking, geez, this place is haunted. My first thought is, which one of you pricks got this?
Yeah. We put a whole toilet roll in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I think your house might be haunted. That wasn't me.
Or you call the real estate for selling you a lemon with dodgy plumbing.
I know. I've many a time when I've clogged up a toilet at work, people say, "Was that you?" No, the place is toilet.
Then you hang around the toilet going, "Get out!"
It was the demons in that Mexican food.
Oh man, yeah, it's comical. Plus, there's a really awkward cut. There's a really abrupt cut.
It's about 76,000.
No, but to that particular sequence, she's on the phone talking to the priest.
Yeah.
Then cut and then toilet. I'm like, and once again, has they removed something and forgot to let us know what's going on?
The editing all the way through is random.
Oh man,
Just gibberish.
Speaking of comical, when the sister goes to the house, then shit, I can't be in here. Drives off and yaks.
Yeah, obviously she stopped in the toilet.
Pulls over and yaks in the middle of the road, and the sound it makes. It's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow, what was that? Like, I was just like, and then all the explanation is your house bothers me. I think she says.
Yeah, I stopped to take it. I stopped to go to the toilet before I left. Caught a whiff or something, and next thing you know, I was fucking chuntering down
what was the problem? Did you use the clogged toilet?
But Kathy gets unnecessarily upset about that too when she turns up and then needs to leave because she doesn't feel well. She basically tries to tackle her and physically.
Come on, fuck you!
You're gonna stay here and have a fucking break. And then she gets really like worked up and emotional, starts crying. It's like she's just leaving. It's not like she's dead.
Look, she's leaving to have a chunder in the middle of the road. Give her cut her some slack.
It's like it's a run of scenes though that are supposed to be like terrifying, but they just provoke rampant laughter. And the next one after that is the priest in the car where they lose
the bonnet goes up.
The car and the bonnet goes up.
Look like something that happened to the cops in Smokey and the Bandit.
T. Justice and Little Justice, or his name.
They fucking ramp the curb and then bounce it around. I was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I think the older priest, wasn't he getting his bloody choking on so he couldn't fucking talk? It was bloody ridiculous.
It's comical because that's also followed by a sequence where you know how they keep having at 3:15.
Yeah.
Something always happens. At one point it clicks to 3:15 and Margot Kidder sits up and Manny goes, "He's blowing my head off." I'm like, what the
Yeah. Clearly just having nightmares.
The other thing about that too is the priest is out of the house. He's staying away from the house, but obviously he's still susceptible wherever he is. So
The forces are
no
wrecked up.
explanation as to why that's happening.
I've left and I'm trying to vacate everyone else from the fucking premises. Like,
But the problem is, all that stuff seems like filler.
yeah,
Anything involving the priest outside of the house is just filler.
it happens completely independently of the
There's
family.
that sequence where the money for the wedding present,
Goes
for the
missing.
caterers, what the hell is that shit?
Because it never comes up again except for the old mate coming and telling me his check's bounced.
Oh,
And it's like, is that supposed to say the house ate the money?
Yeah. That poltergeist took out 1,500.
The houses at the strip club making it rain, right? It's sort of like, but it's sort of like we get it. We get that the cash was there, and then it wasn't, and then they show the shot of the band, so the band of bloody
Yeah, like
paper
the
that was
money wrap.
around, yeah. So you're sitting there saying, yeah, we got it. We get the point. We know what's happened. But then Brolin strolls in and starts, where the hell is it? Like belt and thing.
Yeah, like
It's like, yeah, we got it.
Oh, mate. Brolin, he's a dislike, but he's also kind of a like because the man is a lunatic from the minute he walks into the place.
Yeah.
And as I said, whenever you know he's a lunatic because his hair's like this, it's all pushed up and out of place, and he's like, he's always rolling around, yelling and carrying on. Plus, he rolls out this tiny whities at one point.
Yeah, the Y fronts.
That was the scariest thing in the film.
Yeah. Banana hammock.
He starts strutting around the place and his wife fronts. I was like, oh God. But yeah, he's having a shocker. He is the worst overacting. He is just overacting so badly.
Yeah.
It just gets rid of any sort of the idea that he's changing. And they don't even do what they did in the remake, which is they take him away from the house for a short stint, and they show that he's not
normal again. Yeah.
He's normal again, and then they take him back, and he goes back to it.
Yeah.
No, Brolin's just randomly ranting and raving the minute he sets foot on the property.
Yeah, it's just it's all over this. Like, so the movie's 2 hours, right? And nothing really develops for mine with the family until I think it's 80 minutes. 80 minutes before the Ketchum stuff is mentioned. And then, like, we spend that long sort of just having them experience a haunting, putting their hands on their head and saying what's going on for 80 minutes. Then we go somewhere with the priests fucking rolling off the road or vomiting on the street or something. And then they come back to the house and this just keeps happening. Oh, what's going on? What's going on?
Oh, look, it's another phenomenon.
Yeah. And then the girl sort of comes in and talks about the well. You remember that? Where she starts getting the sort of voice and saying the well, cover the well. And we don't fucking hear about the well again.
Yeah.
So the well's just at the end, isn't it? Where all the black sludge is. Isn't that the well?
That was the toilet. So why even mention it? Because it seems like, okay, we've gotten here and nothing's really happened, but now it's the well. You've got to do something with the well.
Yeah.
The well, maybe the bodies are there or something. But nothing's fucking there. Nothing happens with the well. As far as I can
I could
recall.
tell. I mean, I couldn't make it out.
No, so it's just sort of, it's a really frustrating movie to watch that goes that long without any development.
And then, the fact that Jodie's a pig, and we actually see it in the window at the end. Not only is it a stupid concept to have a demonic pig, but the special effects or whatever they've done, it just looks outrageously bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just like 2 Christmas lights just hung out the side of the
Exactly.
window.
And then what they do is they just
Wiggle them
superimpose a
around.
pig or something around it at one point.
Yeah, no, it's really poor.
And just, for me, the ending is just so anticlimactic. When he runs back into the house, and finds the toilet overflowing again, it's like, I don't give a rat's ass if he doesn't come back out.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And you don't even feel like there's any danger or anything.
No.
Any other dislikes?
No, that was me pretty much covered.
Oh, God.
The only things I had we've already covered was all 3 basically the same thing. I just said it's fucking super slow, super long, and nothing happens. That's all pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. All right. That's the original 79 Amityville.
Onward and upward.
Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for the 2005 remake.
For the Lutz family,
It's beautiful.
it was the find of a lifetime
Who are you talking to?
The girl who lives in my closet.
until they discovered the house has a history
He killed his brothers in this very room.
they can't escape.
Hi, Lisa.
Get you and your family out of that house right now. The Amityville Horror, rated R, starts Friday, April 15th.
Amityville Horror from 2005, directed by Andrew Douglas. I couldn't really find any other
I don't
credits.
think he's done anything else.
Yeah. Produced by the team of Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay, Brad Fuller and Andrew Form. Written by Scott Kozar, who wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Based on the novel by Jay Anson and the previous screenplay by Sandor Stern. It stars Ryan Reynolds as George Lutz, Melissa George as Kathy Lutz, Chloe Grace Moritz as Chelsea Lutz, and Philip Baker Hall as Father Calloway. Budget was $19 million, and the box office worldwide was $108 million. James Vanderbeek turned down the role of George Lutz.
Shit.
I'm glad.
Was he in a position to be turning anything down at that point?
You'd have to ask him.
2005, I wouldn't think so. He's still trying to get the Power Rangers YouTube thing off the ground there, wasn't he?
That was pretty good though. Yeah, probably for the best there.
Yeah. This is definitely a better effort.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it was a much better effort, but it's a better effort because they actually there's better acting and there's a better structure to it.
Yeah.
It actually has some decent structure, and they make a couple of nice little subtle changes to the whole thing, which works. But unfortunately, the story's thin.
Still
I
not
think
much
the
happens.
entire thing, the whole story of Amityville is super thin.
Yeah.
Whether it's the bullshit that they cooked up at the time, whether it's the book, whether it's the 2 films, none of it is decent in terms of strong stuff. This one is at least shorter,
Yeah.
substantially
It's an
shorter,
hour and a half.
but it just relies on jump scares and jump moments, and it's not particularly scary either. So it's 2 out of 5.
Yes, I was pretty much spot on with that. 2 out of 5. It's definitely a better crack at the story because they actually tried to have a story.
They definitely do a better job with the background stuff about the Ketchum and stuff like that. It fleshes out heaps more.
It's
They do.
definitely it's. I mean, it descends just into cheap jump scares and that sort of thing, but it's kind of like, in a way, it's sort of a step between for these like the Warrens and the real life hauntings and things like that. It's a step between Amityville, where we presented this as fact, and then we get a bit more cynical as we go along, and then this one's just like, yeah, it's not really fact, so we're going to try and amp up the
Make it
jump scares and
interesting
stuff
at
like
least.
that, and then eventually we get to something like The Conjuring, which just says, fuck it. It's basically, this is what's going to happen. It's just going to be some effective, cheap scares, and yeah, this one's nowhere near as successful as something like The Conjuring, but it was kind of a step in that direction, and it's got a decent performance. Well, a couple of decent performances, really. Better attempt at a story, and yeah, lands out of 2.
You go?
Yeah, I'm at a 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, pretty much everything you guys said. I think Ryan Reynolds is pretty good in this. I like Melissa George, even though it's like her teeth are too big for her mouth or something at different points. Like a lip just can't go over them.
Interesting.
I think Chloe Moretz is pretty good too. Like she obviously had some chops as a young. Like it's hard to find kid actors that can do stuff, and she pulls off some pretty cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
And it's just I watched them back to back. And going from the first one to this one was just like a fucking quantum leap of quality. The fact that they did so much more with story in half an hour less is just an absolute shocker for the first one.
It's funny because if you'd asked me before we watched them, I would have been like, yeah, the original's alright and the fucking remakes are travesty.
Yeah.
But then I watched them this time around and I was like, it's had a much better shot at it, really.
Yeah.
And you know what? I felt the remake could have been a bit longer.
Yeah.
It had room to build another 20 minutes on.
It didn't feel like it dragged like the first one did, at least.
Because it was only 86 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, taking out credits is about 80 minutes. The film's over in a blink of an eye.
Yeah. I prefer that though.
Yeah, so do I. Look, it opens well. The shotgun murders, the DeFeo murders, all of it presented all in one hit.
Mm.
And then they give you that quick cuts of the crime scene shots with daily exposition and news reports and stuff like that. It's a nice little setup for it.
Yep.
And it shows you, it also gives you 2 key points. The girl's name was Jodie, and she was killed in the closet, and she woke up. Killed in the closet. All comes back later.
The whole shotgun thing doesn't really fly either because she was clearly killed with a rifle.
Yes.
I didn't pick up on that.
The bullet through the head.
Hole in the head.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they decided to go with it was a rifle in this one.
Okay.
Because I think the cops do say that shot with a 22 rifle or whatever it was.
Yep.
I don't think they go with a shotgun in this one.
Ryan does later.
Yeah, he does.
And repeatedly loads it unnecessarily, even though it's already loaded. God, that shit bugs me. Every time someone's on scene with a shotgun, they've got to load it.
But that's awesome because you can do it with one hand.
Yeah, where's the shell ejecting to?
I know. Nowhere. It's what it's doing is clogging up the fucking pipe.
Yeah.
So when you fire, it's going to backfire. Probably.
Yeah, no, it's just dumb. Anyway, I'm not worried about that there.
Good decent cast.
Yeah.
The acting's easily a notch or 2 above, and Ryan Reynolds is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Gibbo said too, getting Chloe Moretz, like she's too.
Because the little girl part's really important.
Yeah, she put a couple of really good performances in when she was a kid. So they did. This was the first thing I remember seeing her in.
Yeah.
So that was a win. The other kids did the job, but Melissa George and Ryan Reynolds both both hold it up pretty well. Ryan Reynolds was really.
It was an interesting choice.
Because he hadn't really been that sort of asshole character in anything yet. He hadn't really brought a bit of that to it. So, yeah.
I did like that.
The only thing I've seen him in similar to this is that one I told you guys about, The Voices, where he's a serial killer with the split personality sort of thing going on. And that's a dog shit movie, but you can see the same sort of thing in it where he's just he plays unhinged pretty well.
Yeah, he's solid. Plus, I've always been a big fan of the priest. He's not in it enough here.
Yeah.
But every time I see him, I always think of Seinfeld, where he was the library policeman, and he's bailing Seinfeld up about a book that he hadn't given back for 20 years. So, but he's a good, solid actor, but he gets shafted here. I mean, there's nothing for him to do.
Yeah.
But that whole part is useless. In fact, you could cut that shit.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
That's in my dislikes. I had the house again. The look just works.
Yeah.
And I think seeing it in both movies, and it's just a design that works really well.
Clearly a different house though, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The layout's different.
Yeah, but that exterior.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean. I thought it was funny that they wouldn't use the same house when they're trying to go with the whole true story thing. Like they've always got the eye window thing going on, but the layout of this one's completely different.
It looks
to the other
like
one.
a fucking country manor.
It's huge.
So every scene they're in a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the whole idea that there's a catch. The catch that people were murdered there.
Yeah. Not the fact that there's a fucking Indian burial ground torture chamber underneath it with demons.
Someone forgot to mention.
No. No worries.
It basically treads the same ground as the original.
Yep.
But it structures it better.
Yeah.
It's
Way
as simple
more
as that.
efficient.
Definitely.
Better character development, better plot points.
Well, it actually brings some subtext into it too, like the whole sort of the fact that the step family business, like he's the stepfather, and then the kids, the fact that it was tied to a family that was destroyed, and it's all this kind of subtext about being doomed to a broken family and all this sort of shit. Like it actually tried.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one just didn't have any of that. And
I was just in the first one. I was wondering why the kids are all calling him George. I didn't even get that he wasn't their dad for ages.
Yeah,
I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned it, an extra star. But, I didn't even know. That's how
But
badly
the
it was
second one,
portrayed.
it's well laid out, like you can tell.
Yeah.
So you obviously just missed the scene at the start where he's talking to the kid in bed. So can I call you dad?
No, I knew it was in this one, this version. I'm talking about the original. I did not get it in the original.
I was gonna say, you missed it in this one. You weren't watching
This one's fine. This one sets it out perfectly. In fact, that introductory scene is short but sharp.
Yeah.
It gives you exactly what you need. The original doesn't do any of that. Like that's what I'm saying. I did not even know that he was
The only
not
hint is
dead.
the George thing. That they call him George. I was like,
Not dead.
Kids calling him George.
Yeah. So it didn't work out all that well in this movie, but you could see that they at least made an effort to build something there.
They were trying, and it'd be interesting to know whether there's much cut out of it either. At 80 minutes, it's pretty scant. You've cut it down. Did they shoot more? Was there more? Is there more somewhere? Some deleted scenes on a Blu-ray or whatever that might perhaps flesh some of this stuff out.
Yep.
Which I felt you had room to have.
Yeah.
100 minutes would have been pretty nice on the if you'd structured it well enough.
Yeah.
The scene in the closet with the babysitter and Jodie is effective.
Yeah.
Like very effective.
Yeah.
Again, the actual reaction from the actress is really good.
What was she from? I've seen her in something before.
She was
definitely in she was in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra or something.
She was in Conan, the remake. She's in.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Is it there's a TV show that
Continuum or
she's
something like that,
Yeah, no, it was in Conan that I saw her.
Yeah.
She's scratching on the door, bleeding and that.
The other smart thing they did is that.
Sorry, I would have just punched straight through that fucking door too, by the way, those little slats. What's keeping you in there?
I'm going through it.
Straight through it. I'll ram my face through it to get out of there. If grabs and sticks a finger in the door.
If I can't go through it, I'm knocking myself out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm running head first into that shit.
Yeah, but the other smart thing they did is that they tied that to the fact that she babysat for the DeFeos.
Yeah.
And then this time they had Jodie being the girl from the family, so that immediately has the mother say, "Oh shit," because the kids said, "Jodie's my friend. She's talking to me. She says you're a good mother," and then the babysitter says, "I saw Jodie," and mentions it, and all of a sudden. We're not, we don't spend an entire movie going, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like Margot Kidder was just left to say, what's going on? What's happening in this entire movie? Melissa George is the one that thinks, hang on, what's going on here? And then they tried to, another one of my likes was that the Ketchum stuff showing up on the Etch-a-Sketch early. I didn't necessarily think that was all that great, but it started to build something, and then it sort of went with the Jodie stuff as well. It started to feed her, and the fridge started to feed her a few things to work with, and and run with. So
And you know what? One of the big selling points of the original was always Get Out. You know,
Yeah.
the thing turned me. But I actually liked in this the whole catch them, kill them. You know, they kept getting told. I thought that shit was creepy.
yeah,
Like
it was. It was a bit creepier. The original.
I believe they also got rid of the whole shitter was full. This one.
The sugar was full. It was the kid. Remember the kid tiptoes to the bathroom?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Was that?
No,
because he gets
So the thing just appears.
That's
Ghosting.
right. That's right.
He was just taking a piss.
He's not a bad actor either.
Shitter's
kid.
full.
He does a good job of that because he's got to do a few things in it. Like he's got to be scared. He's got to be upset.
Yeah, he's reasonably alright.
He's not a bad.
I've got a dislike for the older kid.
Yeah, the older kid was. He's
That
the one.
motherfucker. He's getting his head punched in.
Yeah.
He was a little bit worse, but as a whole, the kids were okay.
That oldest kid though, I think he's only ever been in horror movies. That kid, like,
Yeah.
he's in a lot of different
He
things,
is.
just in that sort of same role.
Yeah.
He's just got that look about him, like a horror movie kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is.
He's a fucking ass.
Yeah. Little shit.
In this movie, he's a fucking asshole. George's poo brown leather jacket and black turtleneck when he goes out on a date.
Quality. Top shelf. It's Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah. Don't take your eyes off him, Kathy.
Yeah. Check me out.
But that's one of the instances where they go out for dinner and he's instantly better, like because his eyes are all red before that. They've got those contacts on, and then he goes out for dinner and he's clear again.
Yeah, I
and he's
like
fine.
and I like that. I think that
makes
was a
way more
really,
sense.
really cool way of showing the house is cocking him up.
Yeah, and that's how she knows at the end to get him away from the house in the boat.
And I dug that. The original
Nothing.
did not even bother
No.
to bring that into play. Because they go to the original had the opportunity to do it too when they go to the wedding. Don't they go to the wedding?
Yeah, he's still not well.
No, and he's still ranting
threatens
away.
the- he threatens the caterer. Listen, if a check's not good enough, you can eat your own damn food.
I can just say, look, it's sandwiches. We're having sandwiches at the reception tonight. The caterer's pissed off.
Yeah, the check's not good enough. There's a couple of baguettes in the kitchen. Get fucked.
The last one for me is I like the scene where he's actually chopping wood and making him hold the logs.
Yeah, that's pretty tense.
And then saying to him, "We're having fun, aren't we?"
Yeah,
You know?
we're bonding.
Yeah, I really like that because that's actually Reynolds' best
Yeah.
part of the movie.
And look,
Yeah.
Ryan is in ripping Nick too, so he's not struggling with the logs as much as Brolin was.
That's got to be like peak human form. Like that's about as good as it gets.
He at the very least walks around in a pair of pants.
Yeah, you can go to the Y fronts.
I think they should have had a throwback scene where he was strutting around his white fronts.
Oh.
Oh no, he's ripped. He's not as ripped as he's been in other films. But
No, but you'd buy that he'd chop some wood fairly comfortably.
I mean, even if it was 8 foot high and 2 foot wide, he'll
straight
split
through
that thing. Yeah.
You half expected
The
in the
human
original,
sawmill.
you half expected him to look out the window again and see him going for a fucking standing tree.
Yeah, he's one. He's chopping down trees. What the fuck's that?
Just clearing the forest around the house.
Any other likes from you two gents?
Just had like the jump scares. Like obviously jump scares are a cheap scare, but there's some good ones in there.
But yeah, if you get a couple at work,
yeah,
and there are a couple at work.
It's just the pacing of this one. It's just so much better than the first one. The first one was dog shit. God damn, it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things I really liked was that it actually seems like the kids are in danger. First one, they were just fucking peripheral. They were just running around the property.
People forgot they were there.
It's just
What kids?
Actually, the boat shed sequence where she falls in and her hair gets caught.
Yeah, and
That's pretty cool.
he goes to
And then he
turn
puts
it
the trim
on.
down.
Yeah.
And then when he decides, oh shit, I better save her, and he just puts the propeller on reverse. Interesting strategy. Put the trim back up so she can breathe, and then cut her hair maybe. But There's no guarantee it's going to wrap it up more.
No, look, he was dumb. I think he was hoping that maybe his mind was telling him to kill her anyway, but I thought that, you're right.
Well, just the fact that, because when he's watching the home movie and the son's face goes all demonic and stuff like that, and then hers happens with the water as well.
Yeah.
It reminds me of What Lies Beneath, if you ever saw that one. It just looked like that, like the faces in the water sort of shit.
With Harrison
It's very
Ford.
creepy, yeah.
Before he was fucking
And Michelle
flying
Pfeiffer.
his small aircraft in front of bloody jet lines.
Harrison Ford's very likes it. He also likes to crash land on golf courses.
Get him out of the air. Fucking pest.
And then just the comparison thing, the end bit with the Ketchum, where he goes down and he, finds out more. Like, she finds the information and she sees the Ketchum kill him thing and twigs to what's going on.
At the very least, she could twig.
Yeah, because there was actually things to learn.
Yeah.
But when he goes down and he finds then then it sort of does all those flash scenes and stuff like that. It's just the first movie needed that sort of stuff in it.
Yeah, it did. It did.
And it just was missing.
I had a dislike to the way that was done in this, but I liked the idea because it showed that she was doing some research and she had seen some of this stuff before, the stuff written in the magnets and everything.
Actually, total throwback. This is the first movie I realised, but when Margot Kidder's going through those news articles, she sees a photo of the bloke from the first murders, and it's legitimately Josh Brolin. What's going on there?
It was supposed to be intentional that like he was going through the same shit.
So he was the killer from the first.
No, he was starting to look like
him.
Which he was.
But it's the same person.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you can say that in the second one, Ryan Reynolds looks a bit like the first guy, but that was him. It's just,
exactly, yeah.
It's either like he's been reincarnated or he's the same dude and like had like a memory. Like, I couldn't figure out what was going on.
I still can't tell you what happened in the first movie.
The original was botching everything else, mate, so there's no surprise they botched
that was just really hard to explain, that bit.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Because she says, I saw a photo of you in the newspaper.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
you're right.
Digressing.
Yeah, I had a couple left. I think it was Kids in Danger. I mentioned that one, but that's kind of really a natural place to go, given that they made her talking to Jodie, who was the kid in the other family. That worked well for me, and the fact that, as you said, he was doing things like making him hold the wood, and then Chloe Moretz ends up on the roof and starts talking about, she said she could take me to see Daddy forever, and stuff like
that's when she jumps off the end.
Yeah, that stuff actually worked for me. I liked that Melissa George was actually able to actively seek a solution instead of just things happening to her.
Yeah, she's not just a passenger.
Yeah, and it was, it was pretty upfront. Like, we're just going to write Ketchum on your fucking fridge, and then you can go and you take it from there. But that was okay with me because it gave him something to work with. And the last one was the whole thread from Ketchum to the DeFeos to the... It may not have been a huge success, but it's kind of... Well, I've probably already said it, but it was just the fact that they attempted a narrative and a fucking beginning, middle and end.
Yeah. Because the original decided you don't do that, you just shoot random scenes and shove them in there.
A couple of things that happened.
Well, the only other like I had was the when the priest comes and he's talking to Kathy outside and he's talking about the doll with the one eye. That was effective too, because he said, that's the doll, and she's like, oh yeah, well, it was probably left here. And she said, no, it was buried with her. And then the mum's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool sort of addition.
Yeah.
Dislikes. Well, the opening scene is really good. I liked, but it's also shot in that fast cut, washed out colours.
The flash shit.
The flashing is distracting because it's so heavy. Like, it goes.
Yeah.
And it makes it difficult to see. I mean, maybe that's what they're going for, but you know what? It stinks of music video director.
It does, yeah.
I can't shoot anything normally.
Yeah.
I've got to shoot the shit out of it.
Flash cuts and yeah.
It's got to be sort of fancy, and there was no need for it to be fancy. It would have been quite effective in normal style.
Yeah. I actually had the fact that they showed Jodie really early on. I think it was when the first time they go into the room with the girl and she's
sitting in the chair.
Yeah, she's in the chair.
Show, I mean, it could have worked as a really quick one, but the fact that they do that immediately and show that the girl's actually there, it just sort of kills the suspense from the get-go.
Yeah.
With that sort of stuff. And then that kind of tied into the fact that they go all out for the jump scares. Some of them are alright, but a lot of them aren't very effective, and in the process, they just kill any chance at building any sort of tension. You're constantly just waiting for the next boom moment. So
and they could have taken that situation with Jodie, like say sitting in the chair. They could have just had the chair rocking gently.
Yeah, to start with.
Well, that's what they did in the first one. Yeah.
And just sort of letting you get the sense of okay.
Yeah.
You know, she's talking about Jodie. The girl that was killed was named Jodie.
Yeah.
You put two and two together. It's not hard, but it's sort of beating you over the head with it a little bit.
It was interesting they went with her not being a malevolent force in this one either. She's kind of like she technically
goes
tries
back
to
and
kill the
forth.
daughter, but
yeah, she sort of
it's just because she wants a friend.
She wants a friend, yeah, because she's sad. But then there's another part that says you're a good mummy and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, she won't hurt you. You're a good mummy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind
and then she wants to kill the babysitter because the babysitter did something dodgy when she was dodgy babysitting or something. So.
Yeah, I don't. It was a little bit up and down, but I actually did like it. As you said, I did like it when she was more just there, kind of like still in the house. As
she reminded me of the dude from Pet Sematary, just like a dead like guide sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
But yeah, clearly a bit more evil if she's trying to get a little girl dumped off the roof.
Yes, well, look, she just wanted to play, mate.
Yeah.
Stay here and play with me forever.
I mentioned. I mentioned. What was that from? Impossible Mission. That's right. I mentioned before Billy. Turd.
He's a turd. Turd of a kid.
He's got stepfather issues.
Yeah.
He had limited screen time, but basically just spends it being a annoying, sullen prick.
Nearly gets his fingers cut off for his trouble though.
So how would you have handled it? Well, you would have rolled in and said, "Look, I'm not your father."
Yeah, listen, shut the fuck up and go away.
He punches like an absolute bitch later on too when his mum's getting strangled and he comes up and starts just like nudging old mate in the back. Figure something out, mate.
You just said it before, they overuse the jump scares. Even though some of them are effective, there's actually a period where when the kid goes to take a piss, the shitter was full. Obviously the shitter was full, but he goes to take a piss and George gets up and starts bumbling around down in the basement.
Yeah.
It's just jump scares galore. It's one minute we've got the kid turning and the bloke's right there.
Yeah.
And it's just like it starts with jump scares and it's ghostly figures and bleeding walls and shit. It's all in a 5-minute period, and I'm like, you guys haven't got a clue what subtlety is. You got no idea what subtlety is.
Where did the bleeding walls go though? Do they suck the blood back up?
I don't know.
Because in every horror movie that's ever happened, every horror movie that ever happens in, there's no evidence of it afterwards.
And in this one, it was coming out of the light fixtures and all sorts
down the
of stuff.
stairs. Yeah.
And see, that sort of plays into the kind of losing your mind aspect of what he was going on, that he sees it and then it's not there. And so, I don't know.
They actually throw it in when he's having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little girl's hung. And why is that girl hung? I don't get that. Because wasn't that supposed to be Jodie?
I think.
Or was it a different kid?
No, I think it might have been one of the kids downstairs.
Yeah, but the kids downstairs, wasn't that the Indian reservations?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just interesting that it was. Yeah, I don't know. I was annoyed that you didn't get boobs in that sort of scene. So that was the thing that I was thinking about the most.
Not keeping Gibbo happy this one.
It's a horror movie, mate. I've come in for 2 reasons. They're both on their actress's chest.
Okay. He's kind of crazy within seconds, though. Again.
Yeah.
He enters the house.
A shorter runtime.
Yeah. He enters the house. Immediately starts going.
Immediately turns into a lunatic.
Shut me up. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
he walks in, he sees his bathroom and says, "What the fuck happened to me toilet?" From there on, he's fuming. He's just
an angry dad. We've all been there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I know we've all been there.
Kids are frustrated.
I know they're frustrated, but quite good lord, mate. He walks in the house. He basically, I don't even know if it's the next day.
I think it was, day one. Yeah.
Day one, he's immediately, remonstrating with his wife about
taking pot shots.
Taking pot shots about his. I think at one stage, doesn't he say at dinner, they could go and live with their dad or something?
Yeah,
that's right.
When he does that, I would have just been like, surely Miss Melissa George is just saying, "Fuck you," packing the kids and stuff.
Yeah, you get you out of here.
Eat it yourself, you prick.
That's a pretty good line in that bit though, because she says, what is this, discipline or torture? He goes, I thought it was meatloaf. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
But it's probably his lunacy is at its most effective when he starts telling her about I'm doing the discipline. You know, the whole bit where he's yelling at them as the steps,
related to the kids.
Shut the hell up! Like and then he's like, from now on I'm doing the fucking discipline. These kids need discipline.
And he does the thing, when she.
And he's kind of pacing back and forth.
Melissa George gets the kid off the roof, and she's telling her about it, and he's in the background shaking his head.
What's wrong with you people?
It's all more effective when it's all related to all that sort of shit.
Not taking dodgy pot shots about bastard kids and all this sort of stuff. Like that stuff was a little bit low. And a little bit too sort of easy. It's the easy shots of he's definitely. You're supposed to accept that he's crazy. The whole priest stuff is just kind of useless.
It's shoehorned. It's just to recreate the scene from the first.
At least he's not driving a car. It's fucking the bandit style.
The CGI flies though when they blow the thing off the vent.
Oh yeah,
that looks terrible. They look really poor.
Shocking, don't they?
Yeah.
But the other thing too is as you said, the priests are not present at all other than he talks to her and. A bit of a mention of the DeFeos. Then he's in the house. Next thing you know, he's racing out the front, not even bloody stopping to wire the window down and say,
I'd leave if I was you. No, he just goes, I'm out. Just reverses.
Pisses off.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have the courtesy to pull over in the middle of the road and go over the whole bloody incident. I mean, he at least has the good sense to tell her your house scares me or whatever. He tells her. I mean, the other priest
could have just wound the window down a slight crack and said, I used your toilet, it's fucked. I'm not going back in there. There's flies everywhere.
I don't know where the flies came. I still don't understand the flies. There's plenty of them in there though. I actually felt the ending's the weakest part of the film for me. Although I like the idea of the Ketchum bit and how she finds out, the way it's shot is really, really poor. He's walking in and seeing all these, it's a trick of his mind to see all these experiments and Ketchum cutting his own throat.
Yeah.
But then it's intercut with her doing the research, and I'm like, these are not exclusive. It should have been her researching, then going, oh shit, jumping in the car. And then he's already down in the basement seeing all this shit.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's lost his mind by the time she gets there. But because it's intercut, it just seems kind of silly. It doesn't sort of make any sense because it's like, so she's suddenly coming to the realisation about Ketchum while he's downstairs running into all these bloody weird experiments and stuff.
I don't think it helped the cause that Ketchum looked like shit.
He looked like the guy out of V for Vendetta.
Yeah, he did. I thought he looked like Bubba Hotel. But it's sort of like, I think they could tell because there was barely anything looking at him.
Yeah, straight on.
Like
he just looked like paper mache. It wasn't a good effect.
And you just got that one shot in the window basically, and that was kind of one of the best looks you got at him. And it didn't help.
No.
But yeah, you're right. It could have been completely sort of.
It should have been separated. And maybe it would have added a little extra to the runtime, but that's negligible because it's only 80 minutes.
Yeah.
The stuff about cutting his own throat so he'll be there forever is a bit over the top. About just have a family and say, can you hang around? Just continue my work.
No, come on, I'm going to do is cut my throat. And
he had a lot of faith that was going to work.
The last 10 minutes kind of descends into sort of slasher movie territory.
Yeah.
Him kind of stalking them in the house and everything like that. Although I do like
up the stairs, down the stairs,
a little bit shining sort of.
I do like when he falls out the window and lands on the mud. Although, possibly bust a couple of vertebrae in that fall.
It's thick mud.
But when he says to her, "Kill me or I will kill you," I like that. I kind of thought that was cool. And the fact that she took him away from the house. No explanation to the kids.
No.
Yeah, they're like, why are we doing this? Oh, I can't tell you right now. This guy just tried to kill me with an axe. Can we not put him in the boat?
I need answers.
And the kid, as you said, the kid's a little arsehole, as if he's saying, okay, well, why are we bringing him along? No, just trust me. Fuck off. Man. That kid's not paying attention to you. He's telling you to jam it. He's not helping you drag him in the boat. But yeah, it was a bit... yeah, we get him away from the house and he'll be alright. I need a bit of explanation before we're proceeding with this plan. Yeah. Basically. Or give me the car keys. You take the boat.
But if he had stepfather issues before, fuck, he's going to take some bridge building to get back in. They're good
Honestly, they're driving the little boat out in the background. The sun's going.
Yeah.
Sticking him out to the
what
water.
does he do? He fucking wakes up and, oh, what do you reckon? You want to go and kick the footy? I was like, sure thing, Dad.
Who's up for lunch? Like it's kind of like immediate.
Yeah.
He's immediately better. Look, I know they sort of showcased it before that as soon as he went out on a date. I personally believe it's the brown leather, the blue brown jacket.
When you're wearing something like that, you cannot feel anything other than good looking like that. I'd make a bit of fun of that, but it's superior to the fact that the house can fucking chase the priests and things like that.
Yeah. I could cop it, but it wasn't very well handled.
Could have been done differently, I suppose.
Any other dislikes, people?
Nah, that was it for me.
That was it. And that's the Amityville pair. If you want to get in contact with us, send us an email at thrillme@ionet.net.au. Like us on Facebook, Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Next episode, Jared. There is only one extra guest podcaster next week.
Yes.
Matty Kay is going to join us. For Highlander. The original Highlander.
Cannot wait.
I'm going to sort of brush up on my Christophe Lambert impression if I can.
It just gives me an excuse to listen to It's a Kind of Magic all week and get myself right
get
in the mood
the Queen soundtrack out.
Yep.
But until then, take it easy and we'll catch everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at ionet.net.au.